Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. I am your host, Josh Davis, also known as Crash. Today is Tuesday, April 11th, 2023, and I am here to go over the 10-game Major League Baseball main slate tonight. If you're new to the channel, if you would hit the like button and then hit subscribe. After you've done those two things, if you would hit the alarm bell, that will let you know when our newest podcast has gone live. If you're new to DFS Coach Talk, you can join us on Twitter at DFS Coach Talk. Just send us a DM. Let us know that you would like to get in on the MLB special, and you will get the rest of the month of April for just $19. So hope to see you soon. We are a very encouraging and positive community at DFS Coach Talk in our Discord. We provide full lineups for Fanduel and Yahoo, as well as the Draftkings core for all major sports. So hope to see you soon. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this 10-game slate. Starting with the first game, it is going to be the Detroit Tigers taking on the Toronto Blue Jays at 7:07 p.m. Eastern. The line is minus 275 in favor of Toronto. It's a 9 implied run total. You have Matt Manning for the Tigers and Alek Manoah for the Blue Jays. They're indoors, so there's no weather. We have projected lineup of Nick Matone, Riley Green, Javier Baez, Spencer Torkelson, Miguel Cabrera, Matt Vierling, Kerry Carpenter, Eric Haas, and Zach McKinstry for the Tigers. And then for the Blue Jays, we have George Springer, Bo Bichette, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Dalton Varsho, Alejandro Kirk, Brandon Belt, Matt Chapman, Whit Merrifield, and Kevin Kiermaier. The next game is at 7:10 p.m. Eastern. The San Diego Padres in New York taking on the Mets. Brian Weathers for the Padres, David Peterson for the Mets. The Mets are minus 140 on the money line, has an over-under of 9, has 69-degree temperatures with wind blowing out at 17 miles an hour, so the ball should be carrying pretty well here. For the Padres, their projected lineup, we have Xander Bogaerts, Manny Machado, Juan Soto, Nelson Cruz, Jake Cronenworth, Ha-Seong Kim, Austin Nola, Trent Grisham, and Jose Azocar. For the Mets, we have Brandon Nimmo, Starling Marte, Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso, Francisco Alvarez, Tommy Pham, Jeff McNeil, Eduardo Escobar, and Mark Canha. The next game is at 7:20 p.m. Eastern. The Cincinnati Reds taking on the Braves. You have Luis Kessa for the Reds and Kyle Wright for the Braves. We have confirmed lineups here. We have Jonathan India, TJ Friedl, Jake Fraley, Tyler Stevenson, Will Myers, Jason Vossler, Spencer Steer, Kurt Casale, and Jose Barrero for the Reds. And then for the Braves, Ronald Acuna Jr., Matt Olson, Austin Riley, Sean Murphy, Eddie Rosario, Ozzy Albies, Orlando Arcia, Marcelo Ozuna, and Sam Hilliard. And Atlanta is a minus 230 favorite and it has an over-under of 9 with wind blowing right to left at 5 miles an hour, 66 degrees. Let's go ahead and take a break and look at the chat real quick. What's up, Nathan? How's it going, man? David, how's it going? So we're at the 7:40 p.m. Eastern start time. The Chicago White Sox, the Minnesota Twins, Lance Lynn taking on Pablo Lopez. The Twins are minus 155 favorite, over under of 8 runs. It's 79 degrees, wind blowing right to left, 15 miles an hour. The projected lineup for the White Sox, Elvis Andrus, Luis Robert, Andrew Benintendi, Yohan Moncada, Andrew Vaughn, Gavin Sheets, Yasmani Grandal, Oscar Colas, Romy Gonzalez. And then for the Twins, we have Byron Buxton, Carlos Correa, Jose Miranda, Trevor Larnach, Joey Gallo, Donovan Solano, Nick Gordon, Christian Vasquez, and Michael Taylor. The next game is at 7:40 p.m. Eastern as well. Seattle Mariners taking on the Cubs at Wrigley Field. Chris Flexen against Hayden Wesneski. The Cubs are a minus 120 favorite, has a 10.5 implied run total because it's 69 degrees with the wind blowing out at Wrigley at 13 miles an hour. So that's definitely a bump to bats. So you have for the Mariners, Julio Rodriguez, Ty France, and Eugenio Suarez, Cal Raleigh, Teoscar Hernandez, Jared Kelenic, AJ Pollock, Colton Wong, and JP Crawford. And then for the Cubs, Nico Herner, Dansby Swanson, Ian Happ, Cody Bellinger, Trey Mancini, Eric Hosmer, Patrick Wisdom, Edwin Rios, and Tucker Barnhart. 8:05 p.m. Eastern, the Kansas City Royals taking on the Texas Rangers. Jordan Lyles against Jacob deGrom. Texas is minus 275 on the money line, over under of 8 runs. So for the Royals, their projected lineup is MJ Melendez, Bobby Witt Sr., Salvador Perez, Vinny Pasquantino, Kyle Isbell, Hunter Dozier, Michael Massey, Edward Olivares, and Jackie Bradley Jr. And then we have for the Rangers, Marcus Semien, Corey Seager, Nate Lowe, Adolis Garcia, Josh Young, Robbie Grossman, Jonah Heim, Josh Smith, and Bubba Thompson. Next game is at 8:40 p.m. Eastern. The St. Louis Cardinals taking on the Rockies in Coors. Miles Michaelis against Kyle Freeland. The Cardinals are minus 180 favorite, has a 12 implied run total, 81 degrees, wind blowing at 10 miles an hour. Expect a lot of runs here, obviously. For the Cardinals, their projected lineup, we have Tommy Edman, Dylan Carlson, Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado, Wilson Contreras, Tyler O'Neill, Jordan Walker, Juan Yepez, and Brendan Donovan. For the Rockies, Jurickson Profar, Chris Bryant, Charlie Blackmon, CJ Crone, Ryan McMahon. This name is so crazy. Aluris, I think that's how you say it, Montero, Jonathan Daza, Elias Diaz, and Ezekiel Tovar. Then at 9:38 p.m. Eastern, the Washington Nationals taking on the Los Angeles Angels in LA. Josiah Gray against Shohei Ohtani. LA's a minus 315 and over under of 8.5 runs, 68 degrees, wind blowing out at 8 miles an hour. You have for the Nationals, Lane Thomas, Dominic Smith, Joey Meneses, Heimer Candelario, Keibert Ruiz, Luis Garcia, Alex Call, CJ Abrams, and Victor Robles. For the Angels, Taylor Ward, projected lineup here, not confirmed. Taylor Ward, Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani, Anthony Rendon, Hunter Renfroe, Jake Lamb, Gio Urshela, Luis Rengifo, and Logan O'Hoppe. 9:40 p.m. Eastern, the Milwaukee Brewers taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Corbin Burns against Merrill Kelly. Milwaukee's minus 125, over under of 8.5 runs. It's a dome, so no weather. Their projected lineups for the Brewers, Christian Yelich, Jesse Winker, Willie Adames, Rowdy Tellez, William Contreras, Garrett Mitchell, Brian Anderson, Bryce Terang, and Joey Weimer. For the Diamondbacks, Josh Rojas, Ketel Marte, Lourdes Gurriel, Christian Walker, Corbin Carroll, Gabriel Marino, Jake McCarthy, Alec Thomas, and Geraldo Perdomo. Last game of the night, the Los Angeles Dodgers taking on the San Francisco Giants in San Francisco at 9:45 p.m. Eastern. Dustin May for the Dodgers, Alex Wood for the Giants. The Dodgers are minus 155 favorite, 8.5 runs implied, 57 degrees, 23 mile an hour winds blowing out. And we talked about this yesterday, but they've got that crazy wind tunnel thing there, so funnel. So it's not a true 23 miles an hour. It's going to blow all over the place, basically. So you have for the Dodgers, the projected lineup, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Will Smith, JD Martinez, Max Muncy, Trace Thompson, Miguel Vargas, Chris Taylor, and Miguel Rojas. For the Giants, Lamonte Wade, Michael Conforto, David VR, Jock Peterson, Michael Yastrzemski, Tyro Estrada, Blake Crawford, Blake Sable, and Joey Bart. So that is an overview of the slate. Good. Yeah, pitching can be tough sometimes, man. It really can. So hopefully we'll get that right tonight. Bryce Elder did really well last night, though. Kind of a subpar performance from Luis Castillo from what I expected. But, yeah, Bryce Elder was very solid. All right, so for my pay-up options, it's probably going to be pretty chalky tonight, but they're the two I feel the most comfortable with. Jacob deGrom, he's 9,900 on DraftKings, 10-6 on Fanduel, $59 on Yahoo. Going up against Kansas City, they've scored the fewest runs per game so far this year at only 2.64. They have the third highest strikeout rate at 26.9. He struggled in his first start this year against the Phillies, but then deGrom bounced back in a big way against the Orioles. He had 6 innings he pitched. He allowed only 1 run, and he struck out 11 for 58 fantasy points. So I would expect another big night from deGrom tonight. Then you have value on DraftKings, quite a bit cheaper than he is on the other sites. You have Alek Manoah, 7,700. Way too cheap to me on DraftKings. He's 9,900 on FanDuel and $50 on Yahoo, so probably more appropriately priced on those two sites. Going up against the Tigers, they have the second highest strikeout rate this year at 27%. They scored the 4th fewest runs per game so far after scoring the fewest runs last year. And Manoah averaged 37.3 fantasy points at home last year, so it's a pretty good spot for him against the Tigers. I think he'll get quite a few strikeouts as they strike out a lot, as we mentioned, and probably, going to get you 40-plus fantasy points is the hope here, especially on DraftKings. Just really good value. Then we have my fade pitcher is going to be Ohtani. I love Ohtani. I think he's an awesome pitcher, but Washington doesn't strike out. They have the second lowest strikeout rate. They've averaged 7.25 runs over their last 4 games. So they've really been playing well. They play a lot of really good small ball, really good discipline at the plate. That's why they don't strike out. So I think that Washington can give Ohtani some trouble for his price is the main reason that I'm fading him. My BVP play of the day is going to be Mookie Betts. He's 6,200 on DraftKings, 3,800 on FanDuel, only $19 on Yahoo. Really good value over there. He homered for us last night. He's got a really good matchup against Alex Wood. He's hit 500 against him, 9 hits and 18 at-bats, 4 singles, a double, triple, and 3 home runs. So I do like Mookie Betts a lot. My stacks are going to be the Rockies and the Cardinals again. I like the game stack there with that implied run total of 12. Then I also like the Dodgers against Alex Wood, like we talked about with Mookie Betts. I like a lot of the righties there. And then I think the Blue Jays are in a pretty good spot against Matt Manning, primarily like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Bo Bichette. My home run call is going to be Nolan Arenado. He's 4 for 8 with 2 singles and 2 doubles against Kyle Freeland. He went 0 for 4 last night. He hit a home run in 2 of his 3 games at Coors last year. He averaged 21.9 fantasy points in those 3 games. So he's done really well, against his former team in his old ballpark that he's very familiar with, which does favor the righties. So I think he's in a really good spot, and I like him to hit a home run tonight. So with that being said, my Prizepicks plays, Nolan Arenado, more than 9.5 hitter fantasy score. And then my BVP play, Mookie Betts, more than 8.5 fantasy score. Does anyone have any other questions? A Seattle stack or a Dodger stack for tournaments? For tournaments, I would say probably the Dodgers. I think Seattle's going to be pretty highly owned in Wrigley with the wind blowing out like that. And the Cubs are pitching. Who are they pitching? Hayden Wesneski is a 5.79 ERA, 1.71 WHIP. Not bad, but I think with the wind blowing out, I think that the Mariners, they're probably going to get quite a bit of ownership. The Cubs will too, obviously, but the Mariners will probably be one of the higher stacked teams, especially because they have a lot of value with the higher price pitcher that you can stack them with. All right, guys. Well, real quick podcast today. Like I said, we have a nice 10-game slate. Deb is going to be on here in about 35 minutes to go over the NBA, or 40 minutes to go over the NBA play-in tournament, the first day, the Miami Heat and Atlanta Hawks, and then the Minnesota Timberwolves, Los Angeles Lakers. So definitely stick around for that. Not sure if we'll have a podcast tomorrow. Wednesday's the day they have the early games. So it's kind of tough to get one out that early. But we will definitely be back again on Thursday. I think Deb will definitely have a podcast, or somebody will have a podcast for NBA playing tomorrow, maybe Coach. But or actually he's out. So maybe it'll be Deb, maybe it'll be me. Who knows? but we'll do something for the play-in tournament tomorrow for sure. So hope everybody has a great night. Let's keep up the momentum with baseball. We've been doing well. Not quite where I want to be just yet, but we're getting there. Once we start getting the very low-owned home runs, and we'll really start to make a move. And so once I get a good feel for that and who I think those are, then we'll really move up the leaderboard. So hope everybody has an awesome night as we look to crush it in MLB, DFS, and Prizepicks. Thank you.